Good day, El Paso. Your local junk caller here, Charlie, aka Dumpster Daddy, epdumpsterdaddy.com. Go ahead, check us out over there. Want to get in here and do a real review, real quick, of a video that if you're out here and you're looking to get a junk removal business started, one of the companies that I looked at, Sonoma Strong Hauling out there in California, they gave away the game for free. So I'm gonna pull them up real quick, and we're gonna start looking in and deep diving into their video of how to start a junk removal business. Now I'm gonna pause it in between their advices and talk about what I did following their advice and what I didn't do, and what we're gonna go ahead and still try to work on in order to grow the business and the brand, get the notoriety out there. So let's go ahead and deep dive into this real quick.
So I guess you want to start a junk removal business, and that's why you're watching this video. If so, we're going to break everything down you need to know to start a trash business tomorrow. You'll start landing jobs just like this.
And if that sounds like something you want to learn how to do, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button.
Now,
That's one thing I got to get better at when it comes to my content, making sure I remind people to hit that like and subscribe button. We got to go ahead and start doing that a little bit more.
the first thing you want to do is do some research and know your market.
Now, if you live in an area that has a lot of other junk removal companies like Junk King and 1-800-GOT-JUNK, then you live in a great area for junk removal. And make sure junk removal is needed in your area.
And one
Now, I live out here in El Paso, Texas, as you guys know. And when doing the research, I wanted to check the population. I wanted to check to see if there were any other junk removal companies out here doing it. And of course, there were. The franchise guys hadn't got here yet when I started doing the research. But before we started the business, there was a franchise team that started doing business here, the Junk Luggers. All of the rest of the big guys they haven't looked at El Paso yet, but there are a lot of us truck and trailer guys. It's the wild, wild west out here when it comes to junk removal. You can type in junk removal, trash removal, whatever it is in your computer and Google on your phone, whatever, and there'll be a bunch of businesses that come up. Now, we try to differentiate ourselves from the rest of them. We want to look a little bit more professional, even though I'm in my garb for the day. What is it time? It's almost about 6 o'clock in the morning while we do this review. Getting before we get the day started. But yeah, you want to separate yourself from the competition out there. But let's get back into the video.
One thing you want to do is make sure you live in an area that has a big population.
We live in Sonoma County and have a population of 400,000 people.
And we're working every single day, and there's around 100 junk haulers out here. Now, something that is so important in the trash business before you start is you want to choose the right name.
Your name matters, especially if you want strong SEO built right into your name. You want to make sure you have junk removal in your name.
Now we have Dumpster Daddy. We have Dumpster in the name, and we do get a lot of calls for dumpster rentals. But some of those calls I am able to flip over into a junk removal job. But we have Dumpster in the name. We have branded ourselves in El Paso, and we have junk removal. And cleaning, because at one time I did clean houses. We pivoted away from that really quick. We branded ourselves here in El Paso. We have our logo, which represents El Paso, the Franklin Mountain, and when we have the El Paso star on there. Let me show it to you. See it? He's also on my shirt and on my hat. His name is Franklin. We got the El Paso star on there. So we've did our best to brand ourselves as an El Paso homegrown business. My wife is from El Paso, and I'm here working the business. I created my own job after we decided to move on from Walt Disney World. But let's get back into it.
Thing that will help you get searched is to make sure you have the city, county, or something that's really popular in your area as part of your name.
Now, ask yourself this: how do you want your business structured? There's so many options to choose from.
You could be a sole proprietor, which is doing business as. You can be an S Corp, a C Corp, or an LLC. Now, this is not a one size fits all. This is an individual decision that only you can make for yourself.
Now, when we first started, I was a sole proprietor. Now we're an S Corp.
So when we first started, I went right on ahead, moved into Texas, and paid for the LLC to, just have my business entity be its own entity to set up for options for later on down the road once we had established ourselves with the bank and all of that type of stuff. So now that we have done that part, I have some financial options that I have that I can take advantage of to help grow the business, or just keep doing what I've been doing to help put food on the table for the family. But I am thinking of what do I want to do with the business, because I'm not going to be able to do it forever. So let's see.
You want to do is write down a business plan. What are you going to do? How are you going to do it? How are you going to market? Who are you going to market to?
Now, if you're having a problem writing a business plan, don't worry about it, because AI can be your best friend and have you a business plan written in like 30 seconds.
Now, one thing you need to know before starting this business.
Now, I do take advantage of technology a lot in the business here in El Paso. I do have a client. I don't speak Spanish, so there are a lot of Spanish-speaking clients. But if they give me the opportunity, I will figure out a way to communicate with them. Now, it's hard to do it over the phone sometimes. If my wife is available, she can help be a go-between. But if we're face-to-face and I'm able to get the client face to face, then I do use technology to help communicate. I will use Google Translate. We can text each other back and forth. I do believe there is a voice feature in there where you can speak into it and it'll translate back and forth. So I do look for opportunities to use technology to help bridge the gap and where I might be lacking. So anyway, let's get back into it.
This is what's going to be your budget.
Now, you can start this business with a little bit of money or a lot of money. Back in the day, we had a little bit of money.
Now, we started this business with just a pickup truck and free advertising.
Now, you don't need the most fanciest equipment in the world. You can start with a pickup truck, and that's how I did back in the day. I bought
a F-150. I think it was a 2012 F-150, had 114,000 miles on it. We put sidewalls on it. We rocked with that. We bought that thing cash. I used my severance from Disney to pay for that truck, and we rocked with that truck for 2 years. But that's how we got started. Now we drive an F-250, still pulling the same trailer. But yeah, that's where we're at right now.
A $5,000 pickup truck and work my way up to a utility trailer with a truck, then a dump trailer with a truck, then eventually I got a dump truck. So one thing I know a lot of guys do if they don't have a pickup truck is they rent U-Haul. So don't make no excuses. Get out there and make it happen.
One thing you want to do is educate yourself on.
Now, when it comes to my business, I have used Enterprise. When my trucks went down, when my F-150 first went down, and I decided that we needed to move on from that one, I went to Enterprise and I rented a pickup truck for the business to help me, fill in between while I looked for a new truck. And then when I started having issues with my current F-250, I used Enterprise. So you can go ahead and, get into a contract with these guys. They let you lock in a rate for the year if you are a legitimate business, if you are going to be using their vehicles quite often. I don't plan on using them that often, but they are in the back pocket should I need them for anything. And it is good to know that, though, and good to have that.
On where to take things so you can save money at the dump in landfill. So this is a mattress, and if we took this to the dump, it would cost us $50. So research and find places where you can take them for free or a cheaper price. So one thing you're going to need.
Now, for us here, mattresses are expensive to take to the landfill. I get a lot of mattresses, and I have to figure out ways to get rid of it. Now, there are landfills or transfer stations up in New Mexico that will take them, but then that's a long drive. So if I do decide to go that route and take them up to New Mexico, then I let them build up. I get 9, 10. I get enough to fill up the trailer. It depends, king size mattresses. Not all mattresses are made the same. Some better quality than others. So I have to figure out ways to get rid of them. And there are some people who do come from across the border who will take some of those mattresses off my hands. But some mattresses are just no good. Can't do anything with them, and they need to be disposed of. So yeah, I do store some until it's time for me to take them up to Las Cruces to get rid of them.
As a junk hauler is what do you do with paints and chemicals? In California, we're not allowed to take them. We're a business and we'll get fined. But It's a great idea to find out exactly where your customers can take them. That way you can help solve their problem. The paint, some paint stores will take them, or you can put kitty litter in it and it will dry out. And once it's dry, you can put it in the trash can. You can let your customers know that. And often there are hazardous waste disposal sites that you can find out where it's at and let your customer know where they can take it when you can't.
Now, one thing you want.
Now here in El Paso, we do have what we call citizens collection centers, and you are able to take household trash there. Your household trash. They won't take any construction debris like wood and not tree branches and all that stuff. They'll take yard waste, but they won't take any construction debris. They will take your paint. They will take your motor oil. So I do steer clients into that direction because even though I have taken paint for clients before, I have made a mess and had to figure out how to clean up the mess. I made a mess in my truck bed. I made a mess on my driveway. Well, not my driveway, my in-laws driveway. I had to figure out how to get it cleaned up. So I learned to stay away from paint because once those tops get open and the paint starts spilling everywhere, it's a mess. It's a mess to have to clean up. And I'm not trying to deal with any environmental agencies coming along who might just peep game on what I'm doing and want to ask me some questions. So stay away from paint. I stay away from motor oil. I stay away from gasoline, gas tanks, and all that type of stuff.
Want to know if you want to save money in the trash business is you want to know where the scrap yards are at.
Because the main thing you want to do is lighten your load before you go to the dump. And sometimes if you have a lot of metal, you can get paint. Now, one thing you absolutely need to do before you start a junk removal business is know.
Now, scrap yards are here. We have a main scrap yard that I go to. It's over by Sam's on Marketplace called SA Recycling. I have told clients too that have told me like, hey, I can get rid of the stuff. I just bring it to you. I say, well, if you bring it to me, then you could just take it to where I take it. I store a lot of scrap metal because I am not a scrapper. So any metal that I get, I'll go through and I'll sort through it and then I'll throw it into my yard or my storage unit before I got our piece of property that helps me with the business. But I would normally store all of our scrap metal. So, we get a one-off, we get a refrigerator, somebody gives us a big load and we get a washer and dryer or something like that. I'll hold on to all of that type of stuff, maybe go do a scrap run once a month. On a good month, it'll be twice a month because we do get a lot of bed frames. We get a lot of, I just did a trampoline and all of that type of metal starts building up, especially once the refrigerators, especially old school refrigerators, deep freezers, all of those things, once they start making their way into the scrap pile, yeah, we build that up and then we go take that on over to the scrap yard. And that's just gravy. That's just gravy for me. So it really doesn't matter what the scrap yard is paying. Because I told my wife, I said earlier this year we were at 195 a ton. Now it's at 150 a ton. So it really doesn't matter what the scrap yard is paying to me. All of that stuff is extra gravy. I've already been paid to remove the items.
How much things are going to cost you to dump.
Now, one thing you definitely want to do is stop by every single transfer station and landfill in your area and get a price sheet and learn the prices.
Now, this is some of the advice they've given in earlier videos, especially when I was watching them 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, when we decided to use our truck to make money and we weren't going to go back into the corporate world. When we moved to El Paso, the first thing I did was my wife figured out where the landfills were and how much it would cost to dump. And we saw at the beginning when we were just using our trailer, our truck bed, we could go to the landfill and it was just going to be the minimum fee to dump. We weren't carrying much weight that they were worried about what we were dumping. And then they had a separate place to dump outside of going to like the major landfill part to dump. So that is, one way to do it. There was another landfill here in New Mexico, I believe Sunland Park, New Mexico, and they wouldn't charge us that much either, as long as it was the truck bed. Now, once I started entering in with the trailer, things got a little different. But to start off, yes, this is very good advice. You need to figure out how much landfills are charging and some transfer stations in your area are charging to get rid of your items.
Another thing you need to do when starting a junk removal business is find out where all of your local donation centers are. Now, that will help you save money on the dump fee and you can help people in need. One thing you're
Yep. Good advice right there. I use we have taken stuff to Goodwill before, but my main donation partners are the Assistance League of El Paso. That is who we take most of all of our donations to. Now, if they don't accept them, and I know that it can be still used by somebody, then I will take it to Goodwill or Salvation Army, somebody else's donation center that I know will accept it. I don't give away trash. Now, if somebody gives me a couch and I learned that the couch is broken, sometimes you can get them and they look okay until you start moving them around, and then oh man, I was going to donate this, but now I see that this couch is no good, so it's just going to have to go to the landfill. Sometimes when I take bigger pieces of furniture like dressers and chests of drawers and cabinets and all of those things to the Assistance League, they say that they can't move those big pieces of furniture. People don't have the equipment to move that type of stuff. Then I'll take some of those things to like the Salvation Army and they'll accept it. And I guess they know how to have, or people have a way to get it in and out of that facility. So anyway, back to it.
You're definitely going to need when starting your business, and that is a uniform.
Now, back in the day when I started the trash business, I would show up in a plain white t-shirt with no logo, no hat, and people used to lowball me back in the day.
Yeah, that is what they do. Now, when we first started, I had same type of yellow shirt. It was a excuse me, cotton shirt, short sleeve, and it just had Dumpster Daddy on it. And I believe we had our information on the back of it. These shirts, I forgot to get the information on the back of it, but it's almost time for some new ones. They're starting to, show some signs of wear and getting some stains on them. So I will be ordering some new shirts sometime this year, and then I'll make sure to have our information on the back of those shirts. But I'm going to wear these out a little bit longer. But that is true. Clients do pay more attention to you when you show up clean. Your truck and trailer is clean, or your equipment is clean. I'm a little dirty right now. It rained a couple of days ago here in El Paso, and I haven't went to rinse off the mud that I got on it from that time. But when you show up and you have your logo on and you look professional, people seem to trust you a little bit more, and they don't fight you as hard when it comes to the pricing that you're giving them. But let's go back in here and see what Matthew Vick got to say.
Hey, once I started wearing uniforms with logos and started showing up with decals, I was able to charge more money and lock more jobs in. And when you look professional,
You'll start making more money.
Yeah, people treat you different when you look professional. Now I'm always dressed and ready for work. I do have the polos and all of that type of stuff, but when I go out to the jobs, most of the times I'm looking to do the job right then and there. If I get an estimate, unless it's a really big job and we have to schedule a time to come back, but if I can fit it in that, if I think I can fit it in that trailer, I'm going to try to do the job right away. So I'm always dressed ready for it. Got my face covering on, got my long sleeve shirt on, jeans, boots, ready to get to it.
now another thing you want to do is check with your city, your county, your state, and find out what kind of licenses and permits you need to get. Some areas you'll need to get a California number for your vehicle, or maybe a US dot number. Now in Sonoma County,
Now in Texas, they made it real easy for us. I just went on ahead, got the LLC. You don't have to go ahead. You don't have to do that. You don't have to get the LLC. You could just be a sole proprietor. I went on ahead, did the LLC for business purposes, like I said before, just to keep things separated from me. And my accountant works things out for me where things work out for me in my favor, tax purposes wise. That's a good reason to have it too. But you could go ahead and do the sole proprietor way or just do it. But here in El Paso, we had to pay for a permit to, once we got the trailer, we had to pay for a permit in order to use the truck and trailer into, or take the truck and trailer into the landfill. So they do charge a little bit more for that for the year. I think it was or it is $150. And then you got to pay whatever the fee is to dump your stuff.
You got to get a permit sticker so you can dump at the dumps, and it runs around $300 a year.
Now, this will be different everywhere, so know what is needed in your area.
Now let's get to the good stuff. How are you going to get some jobs? Now, some of your biggest jobs are going to come from commercial jobs. So one thing you want to do is network, network, and network. You want to walk into these buildings, find the maintenance guy or whoever's running the show. That can be the manager there. Introduce yourself and let them know what you do. And make
Now, this is more boots on the ground. This is expanding your boots on the ground marketing. Now, I do a lot of door hangers, residential, and things of that nature. I could do better going out and getting more commercial jobs by taking this advice and seeing what it is, what's going on out there in El Paso, and walking into some of these buildings and sharing my information and seeing if we can't land jobs that way. I do get commercial jobs, but mainly they call us from outside the city. I get a lot of calls from Florida for some reason, asking me about doing commercial jobs here. But I can put more effort into landing commercial jobs by doing what Matthew Vick is saying here.
Make sure you pass them a business card. Now, last year we did one job that made us over 6 figures, and it was from a commercial client.
So don't be afraid to walk in there, hand them a business card, let them know what you do, and you'll land some commercial jobs.
Now I'm going to have to put the good polo on when I start doing that so that I could look a little bit more professional. But like I said, this is the work gear. But when we start doing that type of marketing, I will dress up and make sure everything is properly cleaned and pressed.
Another thing you can do is go to all the storage unit facilities in your area. Go in there, introduce yourself, leave them a business card, and let them know that you're available to clean out storage unit.
Yep, we've done that before. Clients have called us out to different storage units, and I will go into the office and I will leave my information with them. When we first started the business, to drum up business, I would just go right up to storage unit facilities and hand them my information. They would put me on some vendors list. I would maybe get a call from one or two, but I in the beginning I didn't get much storage unit, the facilities themselves calling me out. But I do get a lot of clients that have storage units and they need me to clean them out. We get a lot of that.
Now, some of them will ask you to get on their vendors list, and that is a simple thing to do. And then you're ready to go, and they'll be calling you.
Now, another thing you want to do is roll around every single apartment complex in your area and check by the dumpsters and see if there's any trash outside, like this right here. So
we will be doing that. Where I live now, there are a lot of small apartment complexes, and I've seen some of them have some mattresses and some couches that have been illegally dumped outside of their properties, and I will be making myself known and visible out here to let them know that we can get rid of that for them.
What I'm going to do is take a picture of that chair, walk into the office, talk to the manager, and let them know we can take care of this problem and pass them a business card and get them on the team. Now, it's going to take some time doing this, but trust me, there's some big money in it.
Now, imagine having 20 or 30 of them on your team. Now, one thing
we got to start growing that market. We got to start hitting these apartment complexes up, letting them know we can help them out here.
You need to do is find all the realtors in your area. So do a Google search and find all the realtors. Take the time to go into their office, visit them, introduce yourself, give them a business card, and let them know that you can help clean up their properties.
Now, what I've done before, realtors, we joined the El Paso Chamber of Commerce, and by joining the Chamber of Commerce, we were able to meet a bunch of different realtors. Out of all of the realtors that I met, one realtor had stuck with me the most, and he started passing me clients that he had that needed junk removal. I don't land all of the jobs that I get from him, but a lot of the jobs that I do, or referrals that I do get from him, I do land because he's a good guy. His name's Matt McMiniman out there in El Paso, Texas, and I do believe he is starting to service Austin. So Austin, you guys are lucky. But he passes a lot of jobs, and from him and his real estate group, I believe it's Clearview. I believe so. I'm gonna check. Probably have to cut that part out, make sure I get it right. But from his real estate arm, he has sent me other realtors who have had me go out and do estimates for their clients. And it is having a realtor on your team. It is hard to find them, but once you do start getting them on your team, they are good people to keep in contact with.
Now, one thing you definitely need to do when starting this business is be on all free social media platforms. That will get your phone to ring. You want to make sure you are on Facebook. I'm going to tell you, Facebook is where we get most of our jobs from. Instagram, YouTube, you're watching YouTube right now. You found us on YouTube. And Yelp. We are on the free Yelp. We are on all these free platforms. We never pay for them.
Now,
Yeah, me too. Yelp got me for $300. I was trying to use one of their free or $300 coupons or whatever to advertise on their platform, and somehow it chewed up whatever that $300 advertisement for the month, and I ended up owing them $300, and I only got one possible job out of it. I don't even think I got a job from them. And that taught me a lesson. It was like, and I'm not advertising with Yelp, Angie's List, Google. I haven't spent any money on Google, and a little money on Facebook ads. But just like they said, we do get a lot of jobs from Facebook, but a lot of our jobs do come from Google too. And that comes from having a Google My Business or a Google presence, a website, and then putting out this content like we're doing right here.
a few other apps you want to be on that are free is TikTok, Nextdoor, and LinkedIn.
On all
you
of
want to
those.
post on there every single day and stay consistent.
On all of those. Now I could be a little bit better, more consistent about posting, but then we got to go out here and make this content to make sure that we consistent posting, baby. And this is as much of a full-time job as going out and doing the job itself. This is just as much work going out here planning the content. I've been trying to figure out, how to put together this video that I want to do, this one that I'm recording right now, for a couple of days since they released this video. But anyway, let's get back into it.
I live by the 10 post day rule. I post 10 times a day, no matter what. And I promise you that will get your phone to ring.
One thing
And we are going to step our game up when it comes to posting. There are a lot of people out here now, a bunch of junk removal companies that I see post in Nextdoor and in some of the Facebook groups quite frequently, and they are hungry, and I'm hungry too. I do have my repeat clients that keep us busy, they keep us steady, but I do need to go out here and acquire more clientele. And in at El Paso, it is possible to do it. There are a lot of people here. I don't think I mentioned it earlier, but there has to be at least a little bit over 600,000 people in this county.
when starting a business is a website that'll help you get searched in your area.
Now, another one that's going to
First, when we started our business, we did the GoDaddy website. I believe they use GoDaddy, but we did move on and we pivoted away from using GoDaddy to using a local company here to put together our website. I maintain it, but they put it together for us, and it's been rocking and rolling, been doing good for us.
bring you in so much business is get a Google business profile. That's how you'll be found on the internet. It's so important to have one and get your reviews up. It will help you rank.
Now, sending a review link to each and every client that you get done with to encourage them to leave a review. Now, you got to do some things that make them want to leave a review now, a good job showing up on time, cleaning up after yourself, and then hopefully they'll be willing to leave you a review, because it is extra work and an extra step on their part after the job is done. But to get those reviews up, that is very important. I'm working on getting more of my reviews up. It was a while there I didn't get a review because I didn't send a link out for about 2 months there. But now I'm starting to send the links out again. Like I said, it's a lot of work. I'm doing it by myself. I'm not using any type of CRMs or any of those right now. And we'll figure that stuff out as we look toward the next steps for the business. But getting those reviews up, very important.
Make sure you're feeding the pictures every single day and do at least one update a week. And trust me, that will help you a lot.
Now, one way to market your business is to get some signs and put them in busy intersections or places that have a lot of traffic in your area.
Now, I have my A-frames because in El Paso, they don't want you to use yard signs. Now, you can ask your clients, if you do a good job, if you can post a yard sign in their yard after the job is complete, and it can stay there for a little while. But I had A-frames, and I still got 2. But I put 2 of them out a couple weeks ago, and they got snatched up by somebody. Now, I don't know if I put them in the wrong spots or if somebody didn't want them on there, but I thought it was, public property or public land that you could post stuff there, and A-frame should be acceptable. But went back to look for them later on that morning and they were gone. So I'm going to figure out where I can put the other two, and hopefully they won't get snatched up. But this is a good way to get yourself out there and get recognized by the community.
You can get these signs from UZ Marketing. If you want to get yourself some signs, click on the link in the description.
And that's exactly who I got mine from, UZ Marketing. They have very good material when it comes to advertising yourself. Got these door hangers. These door hangers here are from UZ Marketing. Very good quality. I like them.
Down below.
Now, if you want to get business, you got to put in the work. So you want to get some door hangers, and these are a numbers game. The more you put out, the more your phone will ring. And you can get these from UZ Marketing. And one thing you should do is put a discount on there. And the next time you're rolling around and you see some trash in someone's driveway, what I would do is hop out and put a door hanger on their door. And hopefully they call you up for a job.
What I would do is when you're done with the job, I would take 5 this way and 5 that way and put them on the neighbor's doors.
That is good advice. I used to do that a lot. I'm going to have to start kicking that back up a lot more. I do make a plan or take a day if I don't have anything going on. I will go out and hit a bunch of different neighborhoods doing door hangers. But it is good to just get some knocked out after you're done with a job. You're already hot and sweaty. So what's the point of you could going up 5 and coming back 5 and getting some door hangers out there.
So now your phone's starting to ring. What you want to do is answer that phone the right way. Ring, ring. Hello, this is Matthew with Sonoma Strong Hauling. How can I help you?
Thank you for calling Dumpster Daddy. This is Charlie. Thank you for calling Dumpster Daddy Junk Removal. This is Charlie. Good afternoon. Thank you for calling Dumpster Daddy Junk Removal. This is Charlie. How may I help you?
What you want to do is listen, pay attention to details, and find out their why. Okay, no problem. Then you want to put them on the calendar and put your vehicle in their driveway. If you give people free estimates and show up in person looking professional, trust me, you'll lock more jobs in that way.
So now that you are landing
That's
jobs,
word. That's real word right there. Real spit.
You're going to need to know how to price those jobs. Most people charge per cubic yard. So find out what the going rate in your area is per cubic yard and charge that. You don't want to be the cheapest hauler. You want to be competitive with your pricing.
Yep. You want to be competitive, but you won't know how to price until you start going out there and doing jobs. You start figuring out how much you're going to charge per cubic yard for your truck and trailer, but you're going to get hit on sometimes you might have charged too much and the client don't want to pay for it, or you might charge too little and the client goes for it. Now you got to do the job because you agreed to doing the pricing. So it's all about going out there and learning and doing the jobs yourself and getting a good feel for it. And then once you start knowing your trailer, once you start knowing your truck and trailer, however it is that you loading things, you'll start looking at things, no matter how spread out it is, you'll know what it is and how much it's going to take, how much room it's going to take up in your trailer. And then you can start honing in your pricing a little bit better. But it comes with time. I'm still learning, still getting good at it, still learning myself.
So we like to keep it super simple for the customer, and we charge a flat rate. We'll have a minimum pickup price. We'll have a quarter load price, a half load price, a 3/4 load price, and a full truckload price.
Now, the way I explain it to our clients is I have a minimum. We come out and we do free on-site estimates. And then if they want to get into the weeds and the details, then I'll start breaking it down by load, half load, quarter load, all of that type of stuff for them. But basically what I do is I have a minimum, a starting minimum. I come out, do a free on-site estimate, and then we'll get into the pricing. Because a lot of clients, when you're trying to explain that to them over the phone, they get confused and they don't want to, I'm confused. It's too complicated. I want to move on. So I just find, for me, let them know that we have a starting minimum, and then we come out, we can give a free on-site estimate. We can talk about pricing on-site.
Now, if you really want to grow your business, you definitely want to get a CRM. And there's so many of them out there. There's Workies, House Call Pro, Jobber, but the best one is Autopilot. It's the most affordable. It's the one that we use.
For more,
I don't use a CRM yet. I'm all manual right now. When the client calls, if I'm driving, I pull over. If I'm at home, stop doing whatever I'm doing. I focus on the conversation with the client, plug everything into our calendar. Save it to the phone if that's what I'm going to do, but make sure we get the name, address, any details that we want to put in about the job goes right into our calendar. And then I save the phone number of the client right there in the details of the when I save the appointment for the client. That helps me when I need to go in there and I'm like, going to let them know I'm on the way, or what am I getting myself into, and I can go look at my little details in the notes. Now that does take up a little bit more time for me when it comes to speaking to the client, making sure I am able to service them. So I guess I can start looking at CRMs when it comes to growing the business. But for right now, where I'm at with the way that we're doing it and have been doing it for the last few years, it works for me.
For information on autopilot, click on the link in the description. So if you really want to grow your business, whether you're just starting one or you have multiple trucks, you have to make it to the Junk Expo. There's going to be YouTubers there. We're going to be there.
All right, so this is probably the end of the video, and it looks like they're going to get into their advertisement. We have been in this session here for about 35 minutes, going on 40 minutes, and I wanted to start taking a little bit more time to break down some videos from my perspective when it comes to doing your own thing out here in the junk removal space or in the entrepreneurial space as it is all together, and having some fun making this content out here for you guys. Now, if you made it this far, if you had to listen to, and if you wanted to listen to everything that I had to say in this video, please go ahead, comment, like, and subscribe. Let me know what your thoughts are. Dumpster Daddy, we out.